Now in the process also you need to make 8 of the corner pieces. Now the corner pieces of a standard Rubik's Cube, and again we'll use one white one and one black one for contrast purposes. These corners of course will fit here, but just like in our illustration, these 8 corners, you have to make pieces that look something like that. Now again, this is a crude, rough drawing of what it's supposed to look like, but we will hope to try to improve upon that a little bit. So with these corner pieces, what you want to do is, first of all, you want to go ahead and whack off, that sounds terrible, cut off these feet. Now I just use a simple pair of cutters and just cut away this piece. Again, nothing fancy. However, once I'm done with this, what I do is these little extra burrs, I cut these off. I make sure that basically this little flat piece there is smooth, and there is a reason for that. I'll demonstrate that later. As you can see, that very, very quick to take apart. Now if you did the job right, then a little bit of the cap that fits over the corner should be exposed. You can usually stick some sort of a tool in there and just kind of lift it off. Now, not all Rubik's Cubes have that, and if you're using a clone or an imitation, it may not have it. But as you can see, very easy to remove once you've trimmed off that corner. So again, you want to save this piece, and you want to save that piece, and that piece, you don't really need it. Okay, so ultimately then what you want to do is you want to take this piece, which fits in like so. When you have 2 of them, no, I'll illustrate all 4. When you're looking at the puzzle, these pieces have to be rounded in such a way where a 30mm a core keychain fits on the inside, in this case oriented like this, is able to revolve around all sides. And the way to do that is basically you can round the piece. Now you have to kind of imagine this. You have to round it off the corner that's sitting like this. You want to round it off something like this. Now how much you need to round off, you can kind of guess at it. You can sit there and do math if you want, determining the radial circumference of this. I don't actually do that. Actually, I freehand all of my cuts, and in the end they end up looking something like this. So combined with these pieces here, what you end up having is that same circle on the inside. And again, that area is very, very important because you need to have the keychain core be able to revolve around it. Like so. So you can see that that fits in pretty good. Just like that. So that is our basic theory for how to make a slim tower. That's our part 1 start, if you will. If you want to go ahead and attempt to shape these pieces as you see it like this, you can certainly try it. If you want a little bit of a hint as to exactly how much arc to put into it, my simple rule of thumb is, if you imagine again the pieces like this, the amount of arc that you need to cut should be a little bit less than 50% of the total width of the cube piece. So if you imagine this is your standard 19mm cube piece, you want to, this arc should be less than 9.5 millimeter. That arc less than 9.5, and usually on this end here I usually leave about about 1mm, 2mm. Basically, you just go right up to that point right there. That's what I'd like to trim. And again, you don't have to use a Dremel if you don't want to. It certainly does help. I just take a Dremel piece, or the drum center and Dremel, just come right through there. And again, you could certainly, but again, you don't want to do that. Okay, so that's pretty much it again. We will get to what these pieces are used for later, and that's part of my secret. But that's for later. That's for part 2. Until then, keep that in mind. Rubik's Cube, keychain cube, combined to make a slim tower.